Happy Thursday, brother. How are you?
Yo, everything's 100, sister. How you doing?
Everything is great. I feel like I get to see you twice in a week because I got to hang out with you recently.
Oh, word. That
Yeah.
was you feel like that was twice in a week? Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. When was it that we hung out? What was that? What day was that? I can't
Oh
remember.
my gosh, it was Saturday.
It was that Saturday. Okay, okay. That's what's up.
What's wrong with you? You don't know where
I
you
mean,
are
it's
in
been it's
time.
been it's been a lot going on. That's why I
Time is
lose
moving
I
like that.
lose I lose myself sometimes. But yeah, time's moving. I be having very full days. You feel me?
Wow. Are you getting enough rest?
I don't know. I try. I try.
Okay. Well, for those
Yeah,
of
I
you
try.
who don't know me, my name is Sarita, and I'm the Irish twin to that young man right there, my brother Xavier, and we get to hang out in the Rose Garden every Thursday to discuss all things that we want to talk about. This is our private time for therapy, and now we've made it quite public because y'all get to hang out with us. Um,
Mhm.
we would be here with you or not, but we're glad that you're here, and we hope you enjoy
Mhm.
today. So,
Mhm.
um, since you over there in the lotus trap and don't even know where you are in
Mhm.
a sense of time, like stuff
Mhm.
must be popping off that's real grand for you.
Mhm. I
I,
mean, everything is grand. I can't complain. Honestly, I woke up this morning
mhm.
and my very first thought was, let's literally count the ways that you're appreciative and grateful. And I ain't gonna lie, when I started uh, just identifying all the things, just starting from simple things, and moving on out, I had to just stop and rise on up because it was so numerous.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
a nice practice. I think I'm gonna have to adopt that practice of like just counting all the things that were. I was happy to actually see you in person because on these boxes it flattens you out, and then I got to see this little Fu Man. What is happening with this thing on your face? Like, what is this? Like, I'm trying to figure it out. And it's funny because I saw yours and its little your tie, and then I saw this man standing on the street and he had his split his beard into three of those little I don't know what they're called, and had rubber bands, and I'm like, well, maybe this is something that I don't know about. Like, is this a thing? So it was good to see you, and I know the family enjoyed seeing you too.
Yeah, yeah. I had a good time seeing them all. It was dope.
So how did my nephew like it? Because we talked a lot about how he doesn't like sports and he came to a sporting event. And I can't read him emotionally. I mean, he is one person that is hard to read. So what was his take on going to a sporting event like that and the weather?
Well, I think he wasn't really in love with the he wasn't really in love with none of the above. You know what I mean? Feel me? The weather definitely was not favorable, and he wasn't really, but he also wasn't complaining. He never complained about nothing. You know what
He
I mean?
doesn't complain. Is that
Nah,
just
he
his
ain't complaining,
personality?
but he also really, is at a stage in life where he wants to do his own thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I guess he was saying to me, how like when you don't know what something's going to be like, the uncertainty of a thing. He was preferring the certainty. Like, I could just chill here, whatever. But I was like, nah, man, I really want you to go with me because, I'll be missing you when I ain't around you, man. I want you to hang out with me. And, I'm glad he did. I'm glad he did come. It was good to
Me
have his,
too.
his, his presence around.
And I'm glad that you used those feeling words. I miss you. I want you to hang out with me. Look at that. You got to start expressing those things so people know how you feel. You got to label those feelings. Well, it's interesting you're saying he's at a stage in his life where he is deciding what he wants for himself. So I was in a school today, and
Mhm.
or in different schools today. I was actually in a community meeting kind of
Mhm.
setting, and visiting different local school partners from one of our contracts, and lots of kids were not in school today. I don't know what was going on.
Mm.
There was lots of attendance. I heard in the background at the different environments that students were not in school, and that's just such a um, important uh, thing to me. Like, what are you doing if you're not in school? And there were lots of conversations about, families are just making different decisions for their children. And there was a homeschool discussion that came up where they're like, I'm just thinking about homeschooling. I said, we're going to talk about this in the Rose Garden about like when we make those kind of choices for kids, and what are some of the thought processes that go under it. So I know you and I are public school bred people. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
so I certainly have a bias towards public school, but I will
Hmm.
say that none of my children went to public school, and we'll talk a little bit about why that was. But well, that's not true. They did not stay. The oldest went to public school, but they didn't stay long, and then the youngest never went to public school. So what's your
Mm.
take on like public versus private, and how do you handle that for your own kids?
You know, I think that I definitely moved to an area where the public schools are supposed to be like the best in the country, right? The top in this country. So, from so far as what I could see in their my children's development, it's definitely pretty good. From an academic perspective. You
Mhm.
know,
Meaning what they're exposed to in terms of content?
yeah. I mean, like right now, when I go to their the back to school nights and the classes that Amir is taking right now, which he's in the 10th grade, it's a lot of professional grade classes like computer programming, AutoCAD, all that kind of stuff. And so he has some what I was considered to be pretty advanced courses
Okay.
that he could the skills that he used there, he could actually use them in a practical job today.
Mhm.
So in that way, I think it's pretty advanced, and I thought my son don't really like school that much. Um, so I thought he would struggle, but he don't struggle. Like he doesn't. School is really easy for him. All that. So I say that to say to you that maybe maybe it is something with the rating of schools. Definitely I could see like in terms of the achievement, the outcome, it's been good for both of my children in terms of academically.
Mhm. How they
But
perform academically.
yeah,
But what about the social part?
yeah, I mean the social part, that's the other thing, that the other element of it that I think come into play, which where we went to school, I think there was a big social component of it. We're connecting and making relationships and doing all this stuff in the school, right? Which I don't see. Well, it does. Of course, anywhere human beings come together, there's going to be inner personal relationships being established. But I think, like it is something to be said about the demographics of a place
Mhm.
and how that has an impact on you. So, like, let's just say if you're a Asian Muslim and you're growing up in a place where it's all Caucasian Christians, you're gonna feel like an outsider. You know what I mean? And you're gonna get exposure to and influenced by that environment. So there's something to be said about that too. You know.
Well, I think it's interesting because, when I hear the word demographic, it's almost like code word to me for like, okay, you don't want to be around those poor people. And I
Mm-hmm.
would say that our environment was mixed, very much like impoverished and like middle class. I don't think anybody when we were growing up were like upper middle class people. They certainly weren't wealthy people. They
Mm-hmm.
were all working class people, but the combination of like uh people who didn't have a whole lot of money and people who were in the middle class gave you a kind of enriched social experience, at least in my
Mm-hmm.
view. um
Mm-hmm.
uh, but now when I hear like, oh, these demographics shifts, it's like this code word for, oh, you don't want to be in the school with the black kids. And I think that if you are black, that has a cost, because I can say for my children, especially my daughter, she went to a school where there was a very small pool of black students, and there was a social cost for her, and not necessarily making friends because she was popular amongst people, amongst her
Mm-hmm.
peers, but I think in how she understood herself within the context of those friendships.
Mhm.
So there was a lot of discussion about hair and, hair length and hair growth and what her hair looks like, and how her hair can look like other people, that just genetically your hair is not going to be straight like a white girl's hair. Just it can't do that. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
those kind of things. So um, there was a social cost for her in that, and that identity developed identity development was kind of impacted. And so, like, if I had to do it all over again, I think I would want her to be in an environment where she had more exposure to her people, more people that look like her, and more people that embraced that she looked different and felt different.
Mhm.
Because that there
Mhm.
was certainly a self-esteem hit that
Mhm.
hit
Mhm.
early on. So,
Mhm.
but academically, I will say, like, it's interesting to hear how your kids are exposed to that. In our school, also moved in the area where they were the school systems were on paper, you know, really, really good for students, but they weren't good for Black students. And I think the difference between my kids and your kids is, they can hide within certain social classes. Like, nobody totally knows that they're Black when they see them all the time, where my son could not hide that at all, for sure. And he was my first kid to go to public school, and he was treated very poorly. He, from the beginning of his school experience, um, in public school, his behaviors were overlooked at and over uh, punished in ways that he had never experienced before, because we moved from Prince George's County to where we live now. And where we live now, he again was like one of the only Black kids. And he was actually in this like Spanish emergence program. And so he had taken off in that program in Prince George's County. They didn't have something similar here in the county we moved to. So the first thing they did was place him in a special education environment. And it took a lot of advocacy for my husband and I to say, well, that's not like he was in an immersion program, so they were learning both, mostly
Mhm.
Spanish first
Mhm.
and then English. So he
Mhm.
had a really, really negative experience, and I truly believe that the way he looked played a part into it, because I would go sometimes to the school, and the same boy behavior that my son displayed, other kids
Mhm.
displayed, but
Mhm.
my son got in trouble for it. So
Mhm.
I didn't let
Mhm.
him suffer very long in that environment, and we pulled him out. And then
Mhm.
we found a all Black, high performing elementary school that was private, and he excelled. In the midst of, he did have some learning challenges that we didn't know about that needed extra support, but he still excelled. So I think there's parts of us that want to create these environments that are so good and stable for our kids, but we got to think about the whole aspect of development. It's not, to me, like, you can be able to read, write, and do math and all that stuff, but if you aren't socially strong, and if you don't have a sense of identity, you won't develop well. And I think that that's what I noticed in the decisions I made about school.
I mean, that's interesting because I was thinking back about when, uh, back in the civil rights era where they were trying to integrate schools, right? And, when they were integrating schools, a bunch of Black um, kids, they were one, in a super minority because it was only like one or two or three or four of them that was integrating the school and immersed amidst a lot of resistance, like heavy resistance. They ain't want them to be there, right? Both parents and students was treat and faculty and all this stuff trying to kind of treat them poorly. But those kids still, inside of that type of situation, they had like some sort of internal, deeper purpose that was driving them and all. So, long story short, that I'm just saying all this to say that you know you could take a bad apple and put them in a really good environment, and it ain't gonna benefit them because the individual just don't want to do good. They're just bad seed, let's say, right? And
Mhm.
then you can take uh, a really good you know, core and put that individual in a undesirable setting, and they still going to stand out in that setting and thrive and do good just because of who they are, you know. So in a large part, I think it takes a lot. It's a lot of variables and elements that factor in. It's like what the student's home life is like. You know, do they have an identity to that home culture and community? When they come to school, do they got a purpose in the school and all this stuff? Is there like involvement from the home in like a
Mhm,
home school partnership in some kind of way?
mhm.
And like if things ain't right, are the parents willing to make difficult decisions and stuff? So I said like it's a lot of things that play into it.
Yeah,
And
it's nuanced for sure. It's not just
yeah,
one thing.
yeah, for
But I
sure.
think that
Mhm.
I think now we're in a different. We have to pay attention to the space we in because we've created, like for the last couple of decades, this system where
Mhm.
folks have been fully integrated.
Mhm.
There's still inequalities within systems, and now
Mhm.
there's a real in certain areas there's a real distinction between who is getting quality education and who is not. Now
Mhm.
look in your school systems. How many black kids are in that system?
I mean, when you look at the demographics compared to, I mean, that's relative because that's like, let's just say, I mean, there's definitely black kids in the school, right? And they're, so it exists, but in terms of the quantity is less than it would be in like Prince George's County. You know what I
Mhm. Or
mean?
less than the national average of like the representative, demographic of them.
But see, then again, it's not that's not like a fair stat because a lot of black people are concentrated in various areas. So like you just take the state of Maryland for example. You know, in the state of Maryland, when you look at it, black people and other cultures are not evenly dispersed across the state. You know what I mean? There's going to like Prince George's County is heavily you know black population,
Mhm.
right? Whereas you go to like Montgomery County, Harford County, all these other places, the balance becomes tipping to the other side, you know. So
Mhm.
it's not even evenly dispersed in that type of way. So
Mhm.
you can't really be like, well, you know, the national average or whatever it may be. Because most of the time, like, black people are like, in Maryland, it's a lot of black people in Baltimore, right? A
Mhm.
lot of black people in PG County. But then when you go into like other uh, areas, you'd be hard pressed to find a black person there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, but that don't necessarily mean like the schools there are better either. You know?
Right.
Yeah, it just
Well, I'm not
it's all
talking about in your
depends.
neighborhood. I'm talking about in the system. I would imagine
Right.
in that system that
Hmm.
because it's a large system, their
Hmm.
numbers of black students is representative of the population in the
Yeah,
system.
it reflects
It
the
reflects the
population, but I
population.
mean the population definitely a mixed population. You know what I mean?
Got it.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure. I'm clear about that.
Hmm.
I think that.
But it's more like like I would say it's less black people in here because I remember when I was living in PG County when my kids started going to school, and I actually moved out to Fairfax County so that they could be in that public school. You know what I
Hmm. Hmm.
mean? Which I could have also did private school, but it's been the same kind of a way.
Hmm.
For to me financially, it would have worked out the same.
Hmm.
But I think that like switching to that environment, it was beneficial to my kids for sure, right?
Why?
Because
What was so beneficial?
I mean, it's benefits in certain types of ways, right? Because you just wonder. Like I would say to me, growing up in the way that we grew up, if it was like hostile, the environment was hostile for us as children, let's say,
Hmm.
I consider that to be a benefit. You know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
it gives you tougher skin, all that stuff, make you more independent. You get confidence in a certain kind of way. But I just look at like my kids and think like, well, uh, my boy, I feel like he'd be all right in any situation. but the girl definitely a lot more sensitive. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So her growing up in a more hostile environment, I don't think would be good for her. You
Hmm.
know, so just it all depends on how you see it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I feel like the fact that like so I'll use one metric, right? So for me, everywhere we went to school, I got into a physical fight and altercation in every single place,
Hmm.
right? Neither one of my kids ever been into a fight.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that is one big key difference right then and there, right? So I say in terms of that, there's not physical threatening hostility towards them, right?
But we
And
were,
now
but to be clear, where we will in the country, we were in a very good school system, and
man, if but grandma Rose got up on the bus and had to now you tell me why she had to do this intervention when she got up on the bus telling people they don't got running water in their houses and
well, she had to do
how
that
to
intervention because there was bullying in the
all right,
environment.
so we had some bullying happening where we had to get, me and the oldest was getting into physical altercations with these people, right?
Right?
So now that was happening, in a place where we was quote unquote sheltered,
In
right?
rural
So,
education,
yeah,
because it was very
in
small in
rural,
rural
yeah.
education.
But then when that sheltering got lifted and we came more into suburban area or whatever, still it was physical altercations and conflicts and stuff that we was in. So I personally have fought in every school I've been at,
Hmm.
but my kids don't have that experience.
And you believe that's the environment versus because I think hostile is you're measuring it just by the physical. I think your kids have
I'm
been
saying
in
that was
hostile
one
situations.
metric. That was one. I'm saying as if you look at one condition, one
Yeah.
variable,
Right.
that it tells you a lot though. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll say like, well, my kids, they definitely put it this way: any kind of bullying at some point going to lead to some sort of altercation.
Hmm.
And my kids have never had that kind of conflict.
You don't
So
think they've had bullying?
I think that there's bullying to certain degrees, yes, but not to where it lead them to like a physical altercation. So
Well,
to me,
the
it's
physical altercation is the choice part of it. Like we make choices as individuals, and like because we had bullying in school, and I think in every context you have bullying. Not every person who's bullied reacts physically.
have you ever heard the concept of bomb first?
Say again.
You ever heard the concept of bomb first?
Bomb first.
Yeah. So
I'm
basically,
sure. I'm
so,
sure I'm gonna get the education
all right.
from
So what you
why
saying is like, let's just say right now.
it's a choice. It is a choice to respond
Uh,
to. So
all
are
right.
we?
So
Are you accepting that position that to respond
I
to
think I
bullying?
think I think that there is certain things. No, I feel like there's certain types of situations that you in. Like the art of war calls this place that you could find yourself in death ground, which means there is no other option but combat conflict. And I think like let's just say
So
you
there's
use
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
yeah
I need to hear this from a parenting perspective. Are
yeah.
you the parent that says if they hit you, you hit them back?
I will answer that question in saying this: if a country, if you're a sovereign country, right? Because I think again, this is the
Lord have
macro,
mercy.
the
Now we stop.
macro, the macro, the macro, the macro world reflects the micro world, right?
Okay.
So yeah, yeah, we are sovereign. As a human being, you got choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're trying to point out.
Mm-hmm.
So you have sovereignty in the fact that you got choice,
Right.
right? Now, if somebody decide to bomb on you, like let's just say Israel decide to bomb on Palestine,
Okay.
right? And they decide to raid on them and do this stuff. Do they have a choice to now say they cannot fight for their dignity and freedom and liberty and stuff? Do they?
That is far bigger than the instances of bullying.
No, like let's say you go to school, right? Like I think if you're the object of being bullied,
Hmm.
then you don't wake up that morning uh, with the intent to go to school to get conflict thrown on you.
Right. But
You
I'm not
never
saying you don't deal with the conflict. I'm saying it is a choice to deal with the conflict physically. That's what I'm saying.
sometimes if the bullying is physical, how can you decide not to deal with it physically? So say somebody you get off the bus, somebody punch you square in the face. What do you do?
Well, it depends on what choice you make.
Well,
You have some choices.
so you
What if
asked me what would you tell
what if
what would you tell your children or your your
no,
students or
this
whatever
isn't
to do?
about me. I need to hear your parenting.
Well, my personal belief is
So you hit you
that
if they hit you, you hit you back.
definitely if
They
somebody
hit you,
is
just say the truth. Tell them you
that
say
but
you hit.
yeah, you already know. If somebody put their hands on you, then
You gotta hit them
it's
back.
off. You got to
Okay,
defend
we
yourself to
agree
the
on
full.
that. We
Yeah,
agree on that.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
To the
saying I'm
fullest.
better. I'm saying we agree that you're the kind of parent that they hit you, they hit you back. Now, can we also agree that most bullying takes place over time?
Well, all right. So even if bullying takes place over time, that means that there was a point in time where it started.
Right, right.
Yeah. So where if bullying, if point in time it starts, if you nip it in the bud immediately, it doesn't take place over
It
time.
doesn't, right. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
and that doesn't always require a physical choice, but we both agree on that.
Depend on the degree of how a person is bullying you. It depends.
What
Like
kind of
I
stress are you in?
so
Like
all right.
so okay, the grandma getting on the bus, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Usually she got on the bus to tell these low gutter dragging people who they were, right?
Right, right,
We
right,
got
right.
bullied. Let's tell this. We got bullied because we were raised by our grandparents and people that was different.
We got bullied because our grandmother had us wearing clothes in another era. You know what I'm saying?
Because we were
So
raised by our
so
that was
we
grandma's
was
best
looking odd to them people. It's like
that was
other people coming to school in jeans and sneakers, and we coming to school with
their corduroys.
1908 corduroys and penny loafers and shit like that. They like, who the fuck is y'all? No, what's wrong with y'all? So
So
yeah, we was getting picked on because of that
and
reason.
grandma told us we look good. And you would agree that I would say before we left the house, because you started this conversation like, yeah, yes, yeah, the way you see yourself in the social context of the family, got it. So when we left our house, would you not agree that we was stood up? We was like, grandma told us she was the best hype woman. She was like, y'all look good. Now we didn't know we didn't match
Nah,
up.
I mean, I already knew. I know some type of stuff you feel like this don't feel good. It's weird. You know what I mean? No, I knew it was
You knew.
weird stuff.
I
Yeah,
will
yeah,
say from my perspective, I didn't know until I hit the street. I thought when I was home that the corduroys and that orange and that she really had like a palette that she liked. I thought we were dope. Okay, then I hit the corner and the bus stop would come with laughter and some
right.
and so what
Yeah.
grandma would do in reaction is
Uh,
she would come on the bus and
uh,
tell the people who was giving us that reaction who they were. So she would, so
mhm.
as the bullying for the corduroys happened, grandma would say, I know your people. Your
Mhm,
people ain't got no running water. They
mhm,
uneducated. One of them went to
mhm,
prison. Your mama don't know who your baby daddy is. And she would bless those people down without laying one hand on
mhm.
them, right? And then she say, tell your people to come to my place to settle it. And I don't know, I've never seen ever in all the history of the time she had to jump on the bus to bless those people down, no one ever came to her place to settle it because they didn't have running water like we did. We lived
Right,
on
right,
a
right.
very nice piece of land that was productive for us. That's how we sustained our living. Grandma could read and write. We knew who our parents were. There was no guessing, right? All
Mhm,
the things that she would get on. And then the best part of it would be like the one that I remember the most is and my daughter's ass looks better than
Well, those things are inappropriate for an adult to say to a child. Because this thing right now, if somebody said that to your children, you'd probably be up in an uproar and all this,
well, this
right?
is a different time.
It is
And
a different, but
this
still,
and
it's a
she was
different time, but
inviting
it's still.
she was inviting the mamas right to the bus stop. And
But still, but regardless of all that, I'm saying that thing is provocative,
oh,
and
that's provocative.
anything could have happened, in that situation and all that. So I say this to say
I'm not celebrating.
there's absolutely nothing wrong, right, with being able to defend yourself and doing it when it's called for. There's nothing wrong with that.
Correct.
But I
Correct.
do think that
But that was an
even
example of nipping something in the bud and not throwing a hand.
But
Correct.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, that not throwing a hand is not because of any action that she's taking, because she's inviting hands to be thrown if somebody wants them to be. You
Well,
know,
she invited it. She wasn't
yeah,
afraid
she's
of it,
inviting.
but it
So
never
so,
came.
so what I'm saying is, like, let's just say, I do think that how they say discretion is the better part of valor.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree with that in this sense. Like, there's certain things that you shouldn't fight for, though.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like, let's just say right now, if um my daughter wants to be with a guy and I don't like the guy, and then whenever I see the guy on site, I'm pouncing on him, like, that make me look like a sucker, basically, because she's already they chose, it's consensual, whatever, all this, for me to be upset to where I want to put hands on him for because I have no control over the situation and the outcome of it.
Right.
And now
Which
the
is
only thing I can do is like cause
physically harm.
yeah, and then just basically be a nuisance, be a
Right.
little terrorist to them to get my way. Like, I don't think that's right. Like,
Well, I
also.
think what you're describing is, as humans, we need to be more regulated. And
Mhm.
in any situation, as adults, we can see how, like, I don't let people steal my peace. Look, I try not to let people steal my peace. People do steal
Mhm.
it, so
Mhm.
at least, and they
Mhm.
take 5 minutes of my peace, and then I go back to my peace. But you know,
Mhm.
as as uh as better developed humans, we should be able
Mhm.
to say, like, these people aren't worth my time, and we should be able to. But think about this: kids don't necessarily have that level of
Mhm. Mhm.
regulation, and it's
Mhm.
really hard because their identities and all these things are being impacted about how they fit in socially and where they, which is why our clothing was such a big deal to us,
Right. 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 Right.
when we were
Right.
growing up. Now,
Right.
is that clothes, the way you do your hair, the way you
Mhm.
smell, all those
Mhm.
things, they make you, they put you in certain kind of boxes.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so that was such a big part of our early development. And so you get it. And so,
Mhm.
but to ask kids to be like, well, don't let people steal your peace. Don't, it's kind of really hard to do that. And I
Yeah,
think
it is.
now kids don't have, like, they don't have the skills, or we're not teaching the skills to, like, really regulate your behavior, emotions, and mood. Really ignore people who are probably jealous of you, calling you out for things that they don't have about themselves, all the things.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so what they do have is their hands, their behavior. They have that. They can show you. And so they use what they have. I think the onus really is on us to make environments safer. Us are the adults, because all of those environments should have been safe, right? The bus
Yeah,
stop.
they should have been. They should have been, but they weren't in our case. You know what I mean? Because it
And I
was.
don't think even in our your, you know, I'll use my daughters, because your daughter may have feel differently, but I think it's hostile to be uh, undervalued because of the way the hair that grows out of your head. Like, my
Mhm.
daughter is never gonna have white girl hair. She don't have white
Mhm.
parents.
Mhm.
So, and but the value in the system that she was in was straight, long, hair. And so that impacted her own identity for a while.
How
And
much of that do you think is something that she inherits, though? Like, what I say about that, like, just
what you mean inherit?
all
I
right,
don't have no,
like,
I don't like hair like that. I'm a short
well,
haired girl.
well,
I don't.
I just mentioned, like, well, I think, like, the fact that you're a short haired girl and you struggle with the headpiece and whatever you're
I
doing
don't
with
struggle with the
it.
headpiece. My brother does not like that I have to, as a black woman, wrap my hair, but I can guarantee
I
you
think you
I'm wrapping
struggle with
my
it.
hair at night.
I think you struggle with
Now I think
it.
that that's your own identity crisis because
No, no,
you can
no.
there most
I
ethnic
have an identity crisis, but not
you
in
got
that way.
you
Not in
don't you
that.
have
Not in
identity
that.
crisis.
Not in that.
You,
Not in that kind of way.
you
Because
got
you know.
identity crisis if you cannot see it. So if the woman in your life
Hmm.
had hair like mine and could not wrap it, right? Could not wrap it. Because every time I'm on FaceTime with you, like what's on your head? I might have to go put one of my
You
scarves on
know,
now.
y'all black women is the only ones in the world that
Not true.
be complaining
Not
this much about your hair. You can ask. Look,
white women spend hundreds of dollars on their hair. They spend,
ask all my black brothers, right?
you know what?
All your black brethren, and they'll tell you,
That's
man,
not true.
you
This is
go on
not,
vacation with a black woman, you gotta she don't want to get in the water and all this
that's
stuff
not
because her
true. See,
hair,
these
she
are
only get this stuff
stereotypes.
all messed.
People do not listen to
Do
the stereotypes.
do you or do you not?
These are stereotypes. I get in the water.
Go ahead and jump in a pool without having to wrap nothing around your
But
head.
then I have to wrap my head afterwards. I definitely get in the
Okay.
water, but I wrap my hair
And then
afterwards.
you be worried about, man, like rain out here, my stuff gonna get all frizzy and
I
stuff.
don't mind. And you don't think white women do that? White women spend as much
And
or more money on their hair than we do. Listen, so think
I'm
about
not
it.
saying
They're
people don't.
treating their hair as well. Dye is a chemical treatment. You probably could not even know by looking at some white women what their natural hair is.
All I'm
White
trying
women
to
also
say is,
straighten their hair.
I don't know what I don't know what they be doing with their hair
They
and
have
what women do.
horizontal
All
braids in their hair.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you this. I have the only women that I have seen make such a fuss over their hair and stuff like that is black women. There's
That's
no
not
other
true.
women.
You dated someone
There's
with a
none. There's
horizontal
none.
braid.
But they
Horizontal braid.
was even the horizontal
Was
braid
not black.
situation.
She was not black.
Even in that situation, the girl wasn't making a fuss over her hair.
Well, she didn't.
It's
If it
just
wasn't
something
fuss,
I noticed. She wasn't
if
coming
it wasn't
around.
fuss, she wouldn't have had to tell you a lie about the
But she
horizontal.
didn't make a fuss over it though. It wasn't like,
Lied.
it's raining out here. I can't walk out here. Nor was
She's
it.
like
I need
Stevie
to put
Wonder.
this
She
bonnet
wouldn't even
on.
touch your hair. She's going like this every time you try to feel it in.
see, people when they have a problem with stuff, they like to make you believe they don't. Right? It's just like, say for instance, people who got problem with money, for example. Everything is all good when it's all on your pocket. You know what I mean? But the moment you be like, no, you get that this time, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna be all upset because it's their money they got to pay. Now we got issues over money. But when I was paying for everything, you know what I'm saying, or the man whoever's paying for everything, they ain't got no problem with the
Well, let me ask
what
you
they
this.
did. So it's the same thing with this hair thing.
This is a bigger question.
Yeah.
Why does it bother you to see a woman, black or not, with a head wrap?
It don't bother me if the head wrap is nice.
Mine are. I spend lots of money on
that don't bother me if a woman has taken the time to Erykah Badu it. You know what I'm saying? Make it flow, look all integrated in the outfit she wearing and doing all this stuff. Like, I had no problem with that.
Okay, so the ones that I sleep in, which are very costly, I buy high quality silk. Okay, so that because I am short haired.
I don't know about that. Because the pictures I seen and videos I seen, I'm like, what in the world is that? You need to get that out of there, yo. And what else you got on too with it? Like,
well, they don't match all the time because I can't have a scarf for every PJs that I have.
Man, are you a woman?
What?
Are you a woman?
I'm a woman, but nobody has.
Are you a woman that's living with a man?
I'm a woman that's living with a husband.
If you're a woman that's living with her man, you need to be conscientious of this type of stuff.
Then a lot can be said about men, okay? But I wouldn't. And I'm conscientious. I don't just I have holy head wraps. My head wraps are of good quality, and they allow me to wake up in a way that I can be looked at and be this perfect every day. And it's interesting that someone who was raised by Black women have such a hard time with it. There is a problem here. I need you to go to therapy.
Well, all I'm saying is that that definitely this is an issue. Like black women got this issue. You know what I'm saying? I admit that black women got a problem with the hair. The hair is always gonna be an issue with black women for
It's
some
not a
reason.
problem. I
Yeah.
think that we want people to accept the hair that grows out of our head, and we don't want the pressure. Like, I like my hair, okay?
Hmm.
And it has life. It has like when I get it styled, it's something black hair can do. I don't
Hmm.
want white
Hmm.
hair that can't
Hmm.
do the life in that. I don't want that kind of hair, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
when men, especially black men, value hair that will never naturally grow, like the hair that grows out of my head naturally is not going to be the hair that, you know.
I can accept that. Like personally,
And then I hate, wait, before you say something,
personally, I accept
how do
that.
you scrub your hair on your head across your hair when y'all's little curly hair is as curly and as full of life as ours, and then you want to rub your hair fingers in your own hair, then be talking smack about the fingers, the hair you rubbing, and the woman that you got? That makes no sense.
See, this is the reason why I say that it's a beautiful thing what God has created, right? Because to have variety and diversity, is a great thing. To where you can look at a black woman say, "Oh, that's great. I like that curly, full body." Like you said, the things that hair can do that no other hair can do, and then you can appreciate, somebody of a different flavor hair as well.
I can
Like
appreciate it. I don't diminish it, and I don't put,
I'm not
because
diminishing
you
either.
said
I'm
you
just
said
saying, yeah,
why
I'm
are
not.
black women doing certain
And
things?
see,
We
it's
got to
a
maintain our
funny.
hair.
I'm asking why it's a problem, because to me again, it's
This
like
takes
I
work.
said, it's like that same concept of the person who, money is only a problem when they don't have to spend it. When they ain't spending their own money, money ain't a problem. Now, when they gotta spend their money, now well, why are we going there? Why are we eating here? Like, all this stuff. Like, why you weren't concerned about that when it wasn't on you? See, this is behavior, right? That I'm talking about.
You need discipline.
It's black women behavior. It's not.
You know
It's
what?
not.
We need discipline. And our time, you know what? The group chat always punishes your bad behavior. And this here, we're going to put in bad behavior because you continue to do it and you just can't help yourself. But I'm going to let the group chat go to discipline. So we did not meet last week.
Mm,
So, yeah,
hmm.
so there's
Where
there's
you was at, girl? Where you going?
I had to go to we had to go see our beautiful girl. It was senior day
I
for our
feel you
girl.
on that. I feel you
Yeah,
on that.
so our girl had senior day, and you even came, which was such a
Hmm.
wonderful meet. It was a wonderful blessing for all of us. It was nice. It was just
Hmm.
freezing, and like
Hmm.
they haven't started their spring yet, so
Hmm.
she's still in Parkers.
Hmm.
But so we couldn't meet last week. But the group chat has some wondering for the brother. So
Hmm.
uh let's pivot before we leave, because I hate to not answer their questions. They had a few
Hmm.
questions for you. So one of the questions was bald headed brother. That's what I'm waiting for them to be nicer to you, but you deserve this because your mouth is so smart. Um, what is one thing that you do alone that nobody knows you do?
Nobody knows I do. I don't know, because honestly, I don't ever believe that nobody knows what I'm doing. Like right now, even when I'm alone, I feel like our ancestors observe us, all the people that's gone
Mhm.
before us, that's connected to us. I really believe they still see me, wherever they at. So I never conduct myself in a way of not believing that people see me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So everything I do by myself, when people don't see me, I do when people are. I don't have any consideration in that way.
So are you suggesting for the group chat that there's nothing, that no behavior that you do, that no crying alone in the dark?
Nah, man, I don't do none of that.
You don't cry
No,
in the,
no,
okay, well
no,
that's what
no,
they looking for, the softer
no,
side.
no, no. I don't
Um,
do none of that kind of stuff
okay, what's something you've said to a female that you regret?
that I regret.
Is that the
Nothing.
part of this? Is that the part of this? The question that is hurting that you
No,
got to
I mean,
say something.
I don't regret a damn thing. So I've never said or
Pretend
did
you're
anything that
a
I regret.
person who has done something. Then you don't
Hmm.
regret anything.
No, I don't regret nothing.
No,
Thankfully, mm-mm, I don't regret nothing.
you were staying 10 toes. Okay, you can't answer it then. If you cannot
Yeah.
answer the question with a regret, I don't want to. I don't
Yeah,
want.
I
I
don't
don't want
regret nothing. I don't have nothing I regret.
I don't want you to mansplain a thing. Okay. This one's a long one, so you got to listen to this. So, bald-headed brother mentioned that no man has ever dreamt of getting married. Yet there are men who propose to women, set timelines for weddings, and also are involved in the wedding planning process. How would you describe those men? And are those men just faking it?
Are they real? They were biologically born men, or they the transgender men? They the women men, or they the real men?
Well,
I know
I'm
I know calling somebody a
what
real man
what
is
is
inflammatory in this
it's
world.
very
But
inflammatory.
I would just say this, like there is no the only men do a lot of things for to please a woman. So I would assume if that was a real man doing that,
Okay.
that the only reason why he's even doing any of it is to do something to please a woman, but it's not part of his, deep seated feelings or desires.
So
It's not
why
part
be a
of it.
part of, so I just, I'm struggling with, they ask you to marry them. Like there are women that are surprised when they get proposed to.
Why would they be surprised if they pressing it so hard?
How do you know they're pressing it?
I mean, even you did. Oh,
I did not. Listen,
we can date or whatever. I
listen,
would reduce the relationship to dating if you don't want to marry me. You know, y'all psychologically terrorize the
I did
man and
not terrorize. I
I'll
gave a
wrestle him
choice.
into
I
being
gave
like, well,
a choice.
shit. But you could have just been patient and waited. You didn't have to be like, well, we can date or we can do this. See,
So,
those things is
like, wait,
manipulative, no doubt. They're manipulative,
no, they're
and
not me. That was
women respond to it. You know
okay.
what I
Let me ask
mean?
you this. Let me ask you this. Let's break this down. So I was being judicious in giving my
No,
partner a choice to
no,
to
you was being
either be
manipulative.
in the relationship or not.
No,
In the
you was
way,
being
in the
manipulative.
way. Listen, what we had to change was the way we were being in relationship. Not
Why?
being in relationship.
Why?
We, as
The
as
relationship was evolving.
as your grandmother said, you do not let a man uh
See,
have the
manipulative.
cow before they
That's
buy,
all.
or have the,
That's all manipulative.
not manipulative.
That
You
is
don't let them
manipulative.
buy, they must buy the cow so they can get the milk.
Well,
So what
what
he
if
was
you
doing
the
was
type of
getting
man that you
all my
see?
milk, all my milk, and no cow. So what I
See,
said was, do
that
you
was
want the cow
manipulation.
or do you want the milk? Here's how you can still have access to the milk when I choose to give you milk and when I don't choose to give you milk.
That was manipulative.
Not manipulative choices. See, you didn't like
That
choices.
was
I'm getting
so
it.
that's why men are doing it because
No,
they
that's
like
not.
I want to please her, I want to
Or
do
he could
this and I
have took
want
the
to do
choice.
this.
Or he could have took the choice. The choice would have been, I'm moving out. We don't need to be shacking up. That was
Some men
against,
do though. Some men do take that choice.
and that is great. I think if
Yeah,
more men live their truth,
yeah.
more women wouldn't be so frustrated.
But
Like,
you see like the Nick Cannons and the one dude I forget Neo whatever.
it's working for them.
They living their truth out. You know what
It's
I mean?
working. The
Yeah.
women aren't going anywhere. They all have buku kids. The women also have choices. These aren't women who are being bamboozled. Now think of the millions of women. There's this one woman. She's some kind of celebrity too. I don't know. Last name
Hmm.
Campbell. Her husband has cheated on her multiple times, and now it's coming out through their divorce that not only was the deception with women, it was also with men. How selfish are you that you're going to stay in a relationship with a woman that you know you're not going to be faithful with, and not just unfaithful with friends and close relatives and things like that, because that was a part of their story too. But now you're going to add them. You're going
I
to
feel
make
you on that.
me
I mean, those
be
are
involved.
disturbing stories. I'm
It's
with
a
you on
very
that.
disturbing story. And
But
so,
let
what
me ask you
every
this
woman
though.
wants is choice. Give
Well,
me choice.
let me ask you this question. You in your situation,
Mhm.
your relationship was evolving
How would you say we were with
because
nothing?
y'all met each other. Y'all met each other as strangers.
Hmm.
Y'all built a close friendship.
We did.
That friendship built into a romantic relationship.
It did.
Y'all procreated. Y'all
Mhm.
cohabitated.
It did. And we married.
Then you started turning up the stress and pressure of getting married.
It was no stress or
But
pressure.
what was wrong with the course of action? It was already naturally taken.
I'm not going to be perpetual.
It was already
I'm not
evolving.
a perpetual girlfriend.
But you see, it was already
You didn't like that.
evolving, and
You don't like
you
that.
wasn't. No, I'm just
You don't
saying.
like that
I'm
choice.
just
I
saying.
gave everybody that
No,
choice.
but see, what I'm trying to say is that's you. So y'all answering your own question in your interaction.
Answer
See,
group chat. Answer group
y'all answer your own question because you arm wrestle the man, you emotionally and mentally terrorize him into the outcome that you desire instead of appreciating the evolution that the path that you're already on is. You know what I'm saying?
This man is a crazy
You,
And you know what's going to be sad is that, I think it's an interesting phenomenon that happens in the group chat because, they only ask you questions. But maybe it's because it's my group chat and it's for you.
hmm
But it's
hmm
very clear to me they care about your perspective. So I'm going to continue to, pull from the group chat, because they care about your perspective. I think it's both healing and valuable to them.
hmm
And they also
hmm
laugh.
hmm hmm
So, all right. Uh, any wise words before we go? Thank you for answering the group chat. We had also had planned to talk about the smut tales, but we'll save that for the next time.
Yeah, I think definitely as far as the smut tales is concerned,
We gotta save that
you
for the next time.
need
That's
to get away from that.
now. I'm listen. Everyone on this that can hear my mouth, don't listen to
No.
dating. His
If you listen
advice.
to me, your life will be full and enriched and happy. Like get away from them smut tales. Some things
Listen,
have
if
no
you listen
benefit
to
to you.
Xadian, your black women's hair will be uncoiffed. It will be unmanageable. We will be cutting our hair because of tangles. We will be hiding ourselves, our truths. We will not be loving ourselves in the way we do. Do not
You
listen
can
to
love yourself. You can love yourself and jump in the water and get your hair wet, and then manage it
they
when
do.
it's not wet
I will
anymore.
tell
Don't
you,
wash that joint and put the moisturizer in it. Don't worry about your hair too much.
they don't.
Don't,
What world are you living in? The world is
don't.
so
I'm telling you,
anti-black.
y'all black women are
Your
wild,
world
man.
is so
Y'all
anti-black
wild.
that we need you to come back to the dark side. Bring some of your cousins too, because all your brethren, they all in the dark side.
Man, we all started on the side of with black women.
Absolutely false.
And then y'all ran us
Absolutely
all out
false.
the door.
Absolutely, absolutely false.
Y'all ran us all out the door.
Absolutely false.
And then
I have
y'all start
never seen you
poisoning
with a black woman. Never. I've never with my own eyes.
y'all start poisoning the well of other
I,
women as well that
actually, I
start
see you with
looking at
one.
y'all bad behavior.
I see you
You
with
see them
one.
with multiple, not
What are
one.
you talking about? You were lying.
The neighborhood.
Oh, that don't count. That don't.
All right.
I didn't. I see. I'm
After
talking
the
about
neighborhood.
dating. I'm not talking about people that you copulated with. I'm talking about dating. Copulation and
What a
dating
good word.
is supposed
What a great word.
that's totally different. I'm talking about dating. I have never seen in my history of seeing you, and I've been looking at you and goosenecking since we was little.
Multiple joints I've been.
Dating,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
brother, it's not nice
Mm-hmm.
to tell fibs because that's
Come
you
on
should
now,
have
you
that.
already know. I would say the people from the top of the court. You know what I'm
You
saying?
didn't date them though. That's
Yeah,
copulation.
I'll date them people from the top of the court.
Oh no,
The
no.
next door neighbor peoples.
Adulthood. That's
Yeah.
copulation. I'm talking about dating in adulthood.
Yeah,
It's
in
so bad,
adulthood too though.
so
Adulthood
bad
too.
that my kids said, "This is so bad." They're gonna be mad at me because they love their uncle. You know, my kids love their uncle, but they all said that they've never seen uncle with a black woman, and it would surprise them if they had a black woman. They
That's
all
wow. That's
they
funny.
said they've
That's
never seen
they get that poison from their mama.
that's that's
They
not
get that
true.
poison from
I
their
just
mama.
became I
Because
see. So I said
when they first came around, I had
I
one,
said
and
they
that
weren't
joint
born yet.
was
They weren't
tripping.
born yet. You talking about the one I've ever seen you with? They weren't born. I was pregnant. They were not born. They have never seen you with and that. And look, the oldest is 26. So at least
Mhm.
in 26 years, our eyes have not been graced upon nobody that was brown.
Well, that's
Or if
funny.
they was
Yeah.
brown, they was sun.
You got to ask my brothers, and they'll tell you.
And look, when they come around, we be looking too. And the darkest person is Kiko Boo. And where's she from? Mexico? You know, I love her. You
El
know what I'm saying?
Salvador. She from El
She's
Salvador.
from El Salvador. I had to get me an El
And
Salvador system.
Kiko's normal orientation is on the snowflake stuff.
I don't
So
believe it.
yeah,
I
that's right. That's what his baby mom's is. So you know,
see. There you go.
that's his normal calibration though. So at the end of the day,
Well, I like my sister. What her name?
uh,
Maria.
no, her name ain't Maria, man. Her name is Carla.
Carla. I knew it was an
Oh
uh.
my God.
I knew it was an uh. I
Hey,
knew it was.
your kids need to get you
They
straight,
love
man.
you too. So don't
They
be
gotta
don't
get you
be.
in order.
They be listening. They love you, so they be mad at me
Don't let your mom poison your mind like that, man.
because they'll be even like at our parties. They be like, "Is it okay to invite Uncle Zayden because we gonna have black music?" See, so you know
You try to sound like black music or something.
we think you do. The question is, do your partners? You
Nah,
know,
I do me. I don't worry about what partner. If they like something or whatever, that's on them. I like what I like. You know what I mean. The person should just be themselves. You know what I mean.
they should, and I think
Mhm.
they're doing a much better job. But I'm gonna tell you, with these only his eyes, I only seen you with one. They're
Nah, that's
all
not
the
true.
it's true. I mean, dating. You like see, I'm not
See,
counting
this
on
is the thing. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, there's definitely a beef between black men and black women, and
I
y'all be
we have
on one.
no beef.
Black
We
women
have
be
no beef.
on one. Like y'all. I mean, all you gotta do is look around your circle of peoples, and you'll see for yourself.
Most of my
Y'all
friends
be
are
on one, and
married
the
to
dude,
black men,
a
so
dude
they
can't
cannot have.
a dude can't even dig his heels in the ground with y'all.
That's
I
not
mean,
true.
you an exception to it, which is crazy. But for the most part, black man can't dig his heel in the ground.
Well, I will say that that's definitely unfortunate for your crew because all of my friends who are married and are black, there is only one who is married to somebody who's foreign. And they're foreign, like they don't live, they're not from this country.
Has this been their only marriage?
No, they're second.
Okay, see,
But
see,
far
see,
they never married. They're all black women. They've all had black men, and of all of my black women friends, they've so to
what
me,
was wrong with their original black man they was married to?
no, she never married. She never married a black.
I'm talking about the other ones.
I
Like
mean, some of
I
them
feel
are
like
divorced. Some of them are still married,
there's a bunch of like
divorcees right now. But that's
yeah,
because
yeah.
that's what happens in that. That's just Americans. They divorce. The people grow apart. You know.
See that now you caping for the
No,
under
I love being married. Like I love my married life. I love my
100%.
husband. I love being
Mhm,
married. I am very much a married person. What I'm
mhm.
saying is within the pool of black women that I know, which is a large pool, my sorors, my link sisters, everybody, they are married to Black men. So statistically, in my grouping of people, they have Black partners.
How many
In
of them are
your
marriage
grouping,
material though?
all of us, we're
No,
very,
no,
very
no,
quality women.
no, no,
I would listen, the group chat is waiting for you to enter. Some of them may want to marry you, but you ain't gonna like them.
no.
Because I'm telling you, they all sleeping in
Well,
scarves.
if see if they don't know how to be a queen to a man, then
A
definitely
scarf does not make you not know how to. I'm hanging up on you. I'm hanging up on you. Till we meet again.
yeah,
Uh,
indeed.
I love you madly, brother. It's been good. I feel like I get to hang out with you. Like I got to see you and pinch on your cheeks and make sure you're real. That listen, somebody feeding you too good. I'm sit this here for the group chat so they can start talking. I seen my brother and he has some pudge, so he eating. His closet may be empty, but somebody feeding him. All right, I see. I see y'all later. Thank y'all for joining us in the Rose Garden.